The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Benjamin Dixon Show.
So again, I'm kind of at a loss as to how to start this show. This episode is going to be kind of difficult for me because I'm trying to tread very lightly. It's very possible that this could go badly, but I have to deal with it. There is a very effective marriage between the Republican Party and religion that is so effective that it has the ability to even influence Black Christians who have so many different issues, a myriad of issues that they are at odds with the Republican Party on. But when it comes down to religion, this plays so well in the Black community. Today, Donald Trump, at least Haaretz.com was reporting that Donald Trump spoke to King Abdullah as well as Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and let them know to prepare that he's going to move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And this is sending shockwaves through the international community. This places the United States at odds with the entire world, with the exception, I believe, 2 nations. There's only 2 nations right now that recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And this plays masterfully, like so perfectly into the mind of Christians who are eagerly waiting the second coming of Christ because they believe that this move is critical. Not really, that doesn't really even bear itself out in terms of the Bible, but they believe that this move is critical to starting the momentum towards the second coming of Christ. And I actually recorded an entire 30 minutes about this, but I tossed it and I was going to stop and not do this at all. But then I started reading comments in this particular video that's discussing Donald Trump's decision today, and their reactions to it remind me exactly of why I have to do this video. I have to, and I don't want to sound like I'm beating up on Christians because I am one, but it is a mindset that is perfectly crafted for people to have political expediency. Right? They always are going to keep you chasing after the Bible while they chase after money and while they do things for their corporate donors that are eviscerating your communities in real time, like in real life right now. Right? But as long as you are so obsessed with the future things to come, you're never presently focused on what they're doing to harm you now. All right, so I'm not even sure. I don't even know where this is picking up in this guy's video, but it's a video, and it doesn't even have that many views on it. So it's not really about the views. It's not even about the video, but it's about the comments. And because they perfectly demonstrate the problem of religion and politics and religion. Again, I have no idea where this video is picking up. So let's listen in, and then I'll read some of the comments.
Saying as early as tomorrow, which is Wednesday, that Donald Trump is going to recognize Jerusalem as the capital. And I don't know much about the move of the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. I know that that's something that could come out very soon in terms of if that's going to happen and when. But regardless, things are happening fast. Jerusalem Post also said the Palestinians are planning 3 days of rage over Trump's decision on Jerusalem. In a joint statement, the Palestinian National and Islamic Forces announced...
Okay, that's enough. You don't have to hear him reading someone else's news. But that's the video. That's the guy. If I were to give him credit, Watchman on the Wall 88 on YouTube. I'm not really interested in his video or his take, but it's this... I'm trying to find a word that's not insulting, but it's this paranoia. It's this delusional state of always waiting on Christ to come back that stirs the Christian community in a trance-like fervor that makes them forget about everything else that's happening around them. And this is important to you, my listener. Even if you're atheist, this is important to you, my listener. If you're Buddhist, it doesn't matter what you are. This is important to you because you and I, and me being a Christian, all of us realize that there are things that are happening right now politically that we cannot afford to have like an entire half of the American electorate just in a daze about the second coming of Christ that even from my perspective may come in 10,000 years. We have been waiting on Jesus to come back since he left, right? Every other year there's somebody saying this is the year, it's coming. And so Republicans have perfected this marriage with Christian evangelicals, including some black people, black evangelicals, and they perfected this marriage where they can always keep this religious fervor to satiate any type of subversive spirit in Christianity from ever coming to the top. But you know why? Because they could say, hey, Jesus is coming. Christianity in its inception was a subversive religion. I mean, they were killing Christians by the hundreds because Christianity is, by definition, a challenge to authority. And they know, if you fast forward 2003, whatever, fast forward a few millennia and you get to the point where they've mastered the art of making Christianity no longer subversive by putting it into power. And now it's in power. How do you keep Christians? How do you keep them silent? How do you keep them forever, focused on something that may happen tomorrow, may happen next year, may happen in 1,000,000 years? Well, you just always play to this end time prophecy game over and over and over again. Okay, so here are the comments in the comment section. And these are voters. These are voters. And you would be surprised. You might find some Democratic, some progressive voters in here. If they're black and they're Christian, good chance you're going to find them in here. So one reply said, he's got the whole world in his hands. Amen. Wow, it's really happening. Get ready, y'all. Stay in the faith. Keep your armor on. Oh my God, I really feel that they're going to, I'm reading a bunch of different ones. Another one says, oh my God, I really feel that they're going to gather in Israel and the Lord is going to miraculously protect them. Yes, Jerusalem forever. The King is coming, everyone. I don't know about you, but I'm excited and God bless you, brother, blah, blah, blah. Maybe he will be home for Christmas. OMG. Man, the day Jesus arrives is going to be epic. Here's the one that got me. He said, amen, bro. This is very huge. World War III is coming, but our Lord Jesus has everything in his hands. And I feel even more we go home soon. King Abdullah is actually a descendant of the Prophet Muhammad. Abdullah is over the Temple Mount. God bless you, brother. Whew. Man, this is a little much for me to read. It is. I have to admit, it's a little much because the delusion, the delusion is dangerous. The delusion is in thinking, is in perpetually thinking that this could happen any moment. And that's fine. Okay. That's okay. But it's when you allow that to transform your political participation today to ignore everything else that's going on around you so that you could always satiate this desire to always look, tomorrow could be the day. Jesus could be coming back tomorrow. Jesus could be coming back next week. Maybe he'll be home for Christmas. And all the things that you have to ignore along the way that are being done to you by the party that is bringing this to you is eviscerating your life right now today. Christianity creates the perfect victim, the perfect submissive person, the person who looks and finds joy in their persecution when in reality there didn't have to be any persecution. And a lot of people are listening to me, you're probably going to say, Ben, that's blasphemous, because the Bible says that there's going to be persecution. They persecuted Jesus, so they're going to persecute you. But wait a minute. Hold on. Let's make something perfectly clear, right? That if they're going to persecute you, they're going to persecute you because you're a Christian. And that's not currently what's happening in the United States of America. Your poverty is not a result of the world persecuting you because you are a Christian. Your poverty is the result of the Republican Party, and some Democrats for that matter, creating and sustaining and perpetuating this system that eviscerates you economically. That's why you are poor. That's why you don't have anything. That's why you're struggling. That's why you can't pay for your medication. And here you are. I love you. I love you like a brother. I love you like a sister because I'm required to love you. But here you are looking at, oh man, Donald Trump. Oh, God is really using him. God, he's a godsend. Oh my gosh, the Jerusalem is getting ready to become the capital of Israel. Here you are focused on that while the Republican Party is getting ready to raise taxes on you, take money literally out of your hands and give it to billionaires. And you already can't pay your bills. But I guess you look at the fact that you can't pay your bills as a result of you being persecuted in this lifetime. Why? I mean, it's a very simple thing. No matter what you believe, this world is going to end one day. You know, I don't know when. I don't quite literally do not care when. We have work to do right now. And our enemies in this present day, right now in front of you, the people who are making your life more difficult are the same people who are trying to keep you. Jesus is coming back tomorrow. Maybe he'll be home for Christmas. I'm sorry, guys. I'm literally, this is a balancing act. This is a tightrope act, and not really an act, because I'm going to say whatever I have to say, but simultaneously trying to help my audience that is a mix between everything. My audience is a representation of what, society probably should be. Shout out to my audience, atheists, Christians, agnostics, Buddhists. I have everything in my audience. I'm trying to help you all understand why this is so important politically, and understand why it's important for us to understand the nuances of it, so you don't just tell these people that they're idiots and morons, because they're not. They're not idiots and morons. They're just people who are completely infatuated with the idea that all of their earthly problems will go away once Jesus comes back. And what I'm trying to communicate them through love is and you notice there's going to be no profanity tonight. But what I'm trying to communicate through love is that your problems that you have right now, a lot of those problems that you have in this lifetime right now is because of the political party that you put into power, and because of the man in the White House who's getting ready to sign a tax bill that is designed to harm you. But you don't care. They don't care about it. Too many of them don't care about it. You know why? Because they're looking forward to the tribulation. And it's actually even worse, right? Can I read that last comment again? Amen, brother. This is very huge. World War III is coming. That is so dangerous. We should never, under any circumstances, look at something. Think about it like this. There are people who thought that World War II was going to be Armageddon and the war that would bring Jesus back. And you know what? Jesus never came back, and millions of people died. Now imagine what happens in World War III with nuclear weapons if Jesus doesn't come back on the other side of that and hundreds of millions of people die. The problem is this, and this is a very deep problem that, again, I think I broke it down yesterday pretty good. You have multiple levels of this. You have true believers politically, and I was talking about politics yesterday. You have true believers who honestly, sincerely believe this ideology, and I don't know what to say to them other than to say, keep listening and hopefully I can break through to you. But then there's the other side of this that is far more nefarious, the Donald Trump side of this. Donald Trump is doing this for no other reason but politics. That's it. Nothing more. He's doing it to keep a promise to some evangelical leaders, probably Franklin Graham, Robert Jeffress, all of these evangelical preachers who are invested economically in the notion that Jesus is coming back soon. Because as long as you can keep this rabbit in front of them, to keep this carrot in front of the rabbit, they'll always chase it no matter how far out it goes. Jesus is coming back soon. And now this mindset is so precarious and so dangerous. And it makes you the perfect citizen. You are the perfect citizen, forever looking off into space, forever looking off into the distance, forever looking off into the future, hoping for the time for Jesus to come back, while the people that you elect in power, the people who are going to pander to you about that, they're just racking up the bucks. And maybe you're okay with that. Maybe you're okay with that, but then don't simultaneously complain about your persecution here on earth and all the trials and tribulations that you go through. And woe is me because I have no money in the bank and baby need a new pair of shoes. I got a light bill due. You're singing about that. And yet you're actively putting people into power who are going to exacerbate your problems. Look at that feedback loop. Right? You're electing people who are going to hurt you economically, and yet they give you Jesus, and then you say, oh, I can suffer it I can go through this, I can survive all this because Jesus is with me, and Jesus was persecuted, and because Jesus was persecuted, I'm going to be persecuted, so let me keep electing the people who are making my persecution worse. I realized at an early age that there are things that are going to happen around us in this world that we can't change. There are things that we have no control over. We don't have any control over when the world ends. So why should we worry about it? Likewise, if I were to translate that into my faith, Christianity, I have no control over when Jesus comes back. So I'm not going to sit here and worry about it. But what I have control over right now are the things that are happening in my life. And this is amazing to me, right? So if I were to point out some hypocrisy, there are things that we are always told by religious people that we should be responsible for what happens in our lives. Right? But yet they're willing to relinquish control over every aspect of their political life, and politics affects every single aspect of your life, just in case you were wondering, right? If you needed that to be clarified. But you relinquish control over all of that in exchange for people who will pander to you based on what you really want to hear. And I'm just of the opinion that anybody who's going to tell you exactly what you want to hear is trying to get over on you. You really should be listening to the people who are going to at least occasionally tell you something that you don't want to hear. And I'm that person tonight. What you don't want to hear is the fact that you giving all of this power to a political party based on the fact that they pander to your desire for Christ to come back has yielded you nothing but poverty and despair. And I'm talking to a very specific subset, because don't get it twisted. You got a lot of rich Christians, man. That's Christian universities, and where you meet kids who are like the uber elite, money running out of their ears, right? I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to the people who are actually hurt by Republican politics and not helped by Republican Party politics, particularly this tax bill. I'm not talking about trust fund Christians. I'm talking about Christians who feel as though their job in this life is to be persecuted because they were born in the middle, in the working class. They were born poor, and so their only escape has been their faith. Listen, and I'm telling you, this is something that I mentioned on my show before, and I really didn't get a chance to flesh out, because I'm really, really careful about. I try to be more careful in this today than I used to be with how I approach these arguments and discussions about Christianity and politics. But there's something that I didn't flesh out that I want to flesh out now, is that, there's the saying that religion is the opiate for the masses. And, honestly, when you look, I'm going to be honest with you, when you consider the weight that is on every average person, who's working 6 in the morning till midnight, like working 18, 14, 15, 16, 18 hours a day and still can't pay all their bills. When you think about that kind of pressure, crushing pressure that's on their lives, you know what? It's not opiate for the masses in terms of a delusion or a drug just to get high, but it's actually something that's going to soothe the pain, right? And honestly, it's not the worst thing in the world to be able to forget about your pain every now and then. And religion serves that role for so many people, particularly poor people. Poor people without that, and I'm intentionally avoiding what I know you're hearing in your head. A lot of people are saying, well, without religion, maybe they would join together and the proletariat revolution could take over. To all of my comrades, no, not really. In fact, I think without religion, a lot of people would give up on life, right? Because this system has robbed us of everything, and all we have left sometimes is religion. So I'm not attacking them. And I think for us politically, whatever your religion is, one thing that we have to recognize is the power of this voting block. And if you could understand the motivations behind their participation and constantly giving their vote to the Republican Party, then you'll realize that this voting block is not as solid as they think it is. Where it's solid, this is where the Republican voting block with white evangelicals is solid. When it's cultural, like the caller last week said, when it's cultural, when it's about being white, when it's about having a certain type of lifestyle, when it's about rejecting certain things like the LGBTQ community doesn't fit in our neighborhood. Don't bring that around our neighborhood. Black Lives Matter. Don't bring that nonsense around our way. And I'm intentionally mocking the accent, right? But absolutely transcends Southern draws. It absolutely goes all the way across every corner of the United States, every accent that you can imagine. But when it fits culturally, those people, they're not looking for, this is working fine for them, right? Whether or not they're financially solvent and whether or not they have enough money in the bank, this is perfectly fine for them because the religion perfectly matches up with the Republican Party, which perfectly matches up with their culture, which perfectly matches up with their expectations out of this life, and they don't want anything more. But there's an underbelly to this entire block of religious people who vote for the Republican Party based on religion. It's because those are the true believers who actually haven't thought this thing all the way through, who've only heard what their pastors have said, who have only heard what Republican politicians have told them. There are a lot of Christians out there who are honestly at the core progressive Christians who are trying to figure out how this even works, how they're confused. I've had so many people after reading my book tell me that they've seen things totally different because they heard it from a different voice. They heard a different message. They had never heard it like that before. And it's important for all of us to understand that some of the victories that we have to win, we're not going to win them by beating up on Christians. We're going to win it by convincing them that if you really want to be like Jesus was, then we need to focus like a laser on this economic exploitation that is occurring around us every single day, that not only makes a victim of people that you see in the streets, but it's making a victim of you. And if we can help them to understand that this persecution that they are so readily, they're so willingly, they're so ready to accept this persecution, if you can help them to realize that this persecution is actually exploitation, oh man, then you got yourself a whole new set, hundreds of thousands of millions of voters who would not only join your side, but would be some of the fiercest fighters, because then they would realize that they have been serving two masters. They've been serving Christianity, but they've also been serving capitalism. And that capitalism has eviscerated every aspect of their lives. So I think it's critically important, and that's why I'm focusing on it tonight. But I'm also focusing on it because there's a dangerous element to it that we've already discussed. But I think it's vitally important, and I also want to give you the verbiage. You may not be a Christian listening to me, but I think it's important that you have the verbiage to actually communicate this when you're getting into these debates. What will never work is the fact of just attacking them and attacking them based on their faith. I mean, and I don't think my audience does this, because if you did, you probably wouldn't be listening to me, right? But I want to equip you with the language to help communicate the fact that the things that these poor Christians and working class Christians are going through, with one exception, and I have to give the exception again, it's for those people who this fits culturally. If this fits into their world culturally, then they don't really care about their poverty. They care about sustaining their culture. And that's a dangerous thing. And there's really no hope for those people. I'm talking about the other folks. I'm talking about the rest of the people out here who are still trying to figure out, why they're poor and why they can't never seem to get ahead. And they go to church every Sunday trying to pray their way through this. And I'm trying to let them know, yeah, you could pray in one hand, but on the other hand, you might need to pick up a hammer and a sickle and help people to realize that this economic system has been designed to exploit you in every way imaginable. Every second of every moment of your life is being drained by people who are telling you that you need to focus on Jesus. Those are the people that we've got to reach, along with a lot of other things. There's a lot of other things that I want to kind of meander through. But part of my transition into what I'm doing now, and again, I don't have it fleshed out, and I'm talking to you live about it so that I could figure it out myself. But part of that transition is to help people to understand, help the masses of religious people understand that there's more work for us to do here than to sit around and wait on Jesus to come back. And then there's the aspect of the black community, right? There's work that I want to do in the black community to help them understand that the black revolutionaries of the 60s, man, that blood still runs through our veins. And those are two key constituents. I mean, you think you're in a fight now. Wait till the left flank comes up and you see black revolutionaries marching side by side. You see Christian revolutionaries, Christian socialists marching side by side. You think you've got a progressive army now. Wait till all of the ranks are fleshed out. Wait till you see the unity. Wait till you see, and I hate to use this word coexistence, but it's the perfect word. Wait till you see all of these faces and races and beliefs and unbelief. And it's the perfect picture of what society has to be in order to not kill ourselves and to destroy ourselves. And the dangerous people are those people who feel like they have to do their part to help destroy ourselves so Jesus can come back. And I'm trying to I'm trying to help a lot of people wake up and understand that Jesus may never come back in 1,000, 10,000, a million years. Whenever that happens, in the meantime, it happens in the meantime, we've got to live with each other. I would use a reference to World War II. If you're excitedly waiting on Jesus and you think that it's necessary for us to have this war, and there's going to be a war between Muslims and atheists and Christians, and what if you get that war? What if Donald Trump gives you that war, and at the end of the war, you're still alive, if you're lucky, and you look around and realize Jesus ain't come back yet? This is why it's so critically important that we are aware of the difference between politics and people politicking to you based on your religion. The policies of this administration are damning. They can destroy this planet and you will be empty-handed thinking, well, and then what are you going to do? What are you going to do, John Hagee? What are you going to do, all you religious people out here who are saying that this is the second coming of Christ? What are you going to do when you get your third world war? You think it's Armageddon, but it's really nothing but a conventional nuclear war. If there is such a thing. It's conventional war and then there's nuclear war. What do you do when you get that? And you survive, Or are you counting on the fact that you won't survive and you die and you never have to answer for the fact that you helped push us to this brink because of your support for this monster in the White House who is unstable and very willing and very able to destroy the entire planet for the sake of his ego? And you're sitting around longing for the day for Jesus to come back, and you think Jesus is coming back, and lo and behold, you're here in a devastated society with no Jesus and nothing but death and destruction around you. That's what I hope I've communicated why this is very, very, very important. We have to hit this on all fronts. And this is the biggest breaking news of today that I think really is significant. I really, really believe in the significance of this. Now, this is my job. Right. This is my job. I think this is one of the main reasons I'm in this game is to I'm sorry, forgive my colloquialisms, but this is one of the main reasons that I'm doing what I'm doing now, is that because I'm uniquely fit to argue this against Christians and to help them see the light. I'm not in it to destroy Christians. I'm telling you, I don't have a vision for the future that is any group supreme. No group is supreme. I'm not looking to purge any group except for Nazis. If I have to be honest, Nazis would be the only people that I think that we should punch them on sight, right? Figuratively speaking. Figuratively speaking. But besides that, I think that we have to be able, that we cannot look at, oh my God, like, the video, there's videos that I played. I didn't play the opening, but he was talking about the, Muslims and how Muslims are the, the enemies of Israel. No, we cannot view this world that we will destroy ourselves so quickly before it was our time. Then that's all I want. If we're going to destroy ourselves, or if the earth is going to be destroyed, I don't want it to be destroyed because we hastily rushed to it because we thought it was something to fulfill prophecy. I don't want us to destroy ourselves when there's plenty of things in this universe that are waiting to destroy us naturally. Like, if anything, and I don't want to get too, I don't want to get too kumbaya. All right, that's enough kumbaya for tonight. I'll just say it like this. We're going to absolutely need everyone. We're going to need religious people. We're going to need non-religious people. We're going to need gay, straight, trans. We're going to need black, white, other. We're going to need every person of every race, of every nationality, every ethnicity, every person on this planet. We're going to need to be able to live with them, if not in harmony, I don't believe in, but in stability. In stability. We must be able to have a stable society that can coexist with everything, every belief, everything, except Nazis. All right, so that's all I've got for tonight. I hope you got something out of it. I was trying to avoid a lot of things, a lot of pitfalls in this particular conversation, but the main takeaway is what you already got. I'm not going to give it to you again, but what I do need you to do is go to patreon.com/the BPD show and become a patron and help us continue to do this. What are you doing? I want to hear from you. What are you doing to actually do? I know you're tired. I know you're busy. I know you're worn out at the end of the night, but what are you doing? Because I know what I'm doing locally. I know what groups I'm starting to talk to. I'm having conversations with them, and I'm considering joining up, and I'm considering getting active on the ground. I know what I'm doing in the religious community, and I know the message that I want to take to them when the time is right. I know what I'm doing in the black community and the message that I want to take to them when I get the opportunity. And I know the organizations that I'm getting ready to join up with. And I want to know, what are you doing? Let me know. Talk to you soon.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog, join the Progressive Army, and support The Benjamin Dixon Show.
Crazy mother.
If you like this episode, be sure to share, like, and subscribe.
Consider becoming a Patreon. Go to www.patreon.com/the BPD show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show.